what's up? So, here's my attempt at starting this YouTube. Currently just got done with an 11-mile run with the dogs. Well, one dog. This one. Currently doing some rolling out and all my fun stuff. This for the bottom of the feet. Stretching, doing a little band work. Gonna work out the IT band, Paraformance stuff. There's my collar. And a hat and roller. But, yeah, so let's get into it. Hi! Alright, here we go. Welcome to this week's video with my beautiful wife. So we got dogs. So this week, want to break off the video. Still gonna be pretty just me on the camera, us talking, not a whole lot of other content yet so far. But last week made a bigger decision. And talking with my coach, when he saw my first couple videos, he's like, hey, we should talk about this goal of going for a pro card, what that really looks like and what that really means. For me, I had an idea, but I mean, I've been doing this for a couple of years, so I understood a little bit of what it might take, but he really understands a little bit more of it because he's actually taken an athlete professional before. So I wanted to go talk to him, but what he said was, hey, first things first, like, let's have a little bit of a conversation. And then what will be most important is for you to talk to Ashley. Obviously, you're going to want to have family support because this is quite a big undertaking, which I can talk about a lot. But I thought it'd be really cool to have a little bit of Ashley's perspective. But I just wanted for everybody to kind of hear your perspective of what does it mean to be like a supporting team member, basically married to someone who wants to do something like this crazy.
I mean, I guess I'm about to find out as you go for this because that will be the first time. But I guess what it means to me is just helping him feel empowered. Okay, olive down. Helping him feel empowered to chase his dreams, which takes time.
Mm-hmm.
So, like encouraging him that it is okay to go exercise when he, is asking if it's okay instead of having an attitude about it and saying like, well, no, I want you to do this other thing, but kind of being on the same page of what the sacrifice would mean so that he doesn't have to feel bad about exercising. And also, just I think asking you how your workouts went, even though I don't understand half of all of the specifics about it, it is kind of cool hearing about his progress. So feeling supported in that way and then going to races.
Yeah, and it does mean a lot when you ask that. Actually, I haven't even thought about that explicitly, but yeah, you have asked that more frequently, so I do appreciate that. But one thing I wanted to share too is because when I first started this and before I even got into it, I heard and witnessed some relationships being strained by this. So our relationship has been strained by it in the past. I think that everybody goes through that phase, and what's really important is being able to open that communication and work through it. But what helped you work through that? Because at some points, like, it did feel, and it is by nature a very selfish sport. It's like me going after it's a swim bike run. It's not necessarily a team event, although it is, because the people around have a lot to do with the support. But what helped you feel more supported? Like, what do you think helped us work through some of those harder moments?
Yeah, well, first I wouldn't say that it's a selfish sport. Like, sport's a sport, and if you want to be good at anything, you have to put in the time, the effort, and the focus. And anything can become selfish if it is all about you, but I think it is a sport that takes a lot of your time and energy.
Yeah.
So I would just say that. But yeah, in the past, when we were first married and Seth was going after this dream, it was a little more stressful. I think our mindsets were different. I felt that it was selfish for you at the time. And it was expensive at the time with what we were going through. And so I feel now that your focus has changed, that it is more about family first. And so then that gives me the courage to be accepting of your new goals, realizing that, you know, no matter what, family is first, God is first. And so if push came to shove and you did have to sacrifice something, you know, if an event happened or whatever it might be, that you would sacrifice this goal and this sport for the sake of me or other loved ones. So that empowers me to want to make sure that you don't have to sacrifice this goal, because I already know that I'm most important. And then I like being a cheerleader, and I like being your sidekick. So
She's
I think
a great
that's
one.
cool. Another thing is too, I think growing up and seeing people that have struggled with being workaholics or exerciseaholics, and seeing like a lack of family life balance, I was afraid, being newly married to Seth, that, you know, maybe if he got into something or got addicted to something, that when we start having kids, like, he wouldn't give up these things for the sake of the family. But anyways, as we've grown to know each other and love each other more deeply, I realize that's not the case. There's seasons in life in which we can promote certain things and sacrifice for certain things and want certain things, and that's okay. And then there will be other times in life where our path leads a different way.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we're coming up on 5 years of marriage. We've grown so much the past like 2 or 3 years, because we went through, first year was pretty hard, second year got a little bit better, third year got a little bit better, fourth year was a bit harder again because she started school and it was a change and shift. But that third year we had grown like a new level. And then, like, with the whole gun situation, you guys heard me tell that story, Ashley losing her grandfather tragically, and some other just life changes that were pretty big and somewhat traumatic, really pushed us to, honestly, it could have been a make or break situation. Like, our marriage got to a point where we weren't feeling super good about it. And then I started counseling individually. We started marriage counseling. Ashley started counseling individually. So
three counselors have kind of helped us.
Yeah, help us get to a point to where we can communicate better. But, you know, they say everything in marriage is communication. I would say that's a huge piece of it. But it's also, like, just working on it. Because sometimes you got to get into a room and have really difficult conversations and say things that, you know, or sometimes even you may be afraid to say to each other because you're afraid, oh, it might hurt their feelings. But I think it makes it real and it opens it up. When we first went into marriage counseling, like, both of our commitment levels weren't super great, and now they feel like at all-time highs, and that's just kind of the cycle and flow. So I think that'll be part of it for this whole journey with the Crazy Moonshot. I've got quite a ways to go. My swim is probably the closest to it is to being professional at this point. I still got a good bit to go on the bike, and I still have a good bit to go on the run, but it's not unattainable. It's just going to take some time, a considerable amount of time, like a year or two, probably a little bit in between those. And what it's actually going to take is going to look closer to what prepping for this full Ironman in September is going to be looking like. So just for those who are interested, going to be looking at, on the big weeks, closer to like 19 hours of training. And those will be broken up usually into 2 exercise times a day, usually early morning and afternoon, or early evening. On the lower weeks, the recovery weeks, will be like 12 to 13 hours, and we'll just kind of see how it goes, keep updating once a week. I'll try to get in some footage of actual doing some of the things. Not very good at that part yet, but maybe we can have Ashley jump in a car and be the sag wagon and video me or something. She's got school right now. She's doing nurse practitioner, so it takes some time. But yeah, it's exciting. It's really cool to kind of go out in public, and have noticed some of my friends and acquaintances who have noticed, like, they're gonna go after this Crazy Moonshot, and it makes it a little bit more real, because it's like, oh, I have to actually kind of really work at this now, because there's people watching and following along, which is a good way to do it. I think there's accountability. So family and relationship first, and we'll go from there. Cool. Any last words from you?
Thank you for having me on your show.
All right, see ya. All right, so that was this week's video. As you can see, I just got Premiere Pro, learning how to use it again. Haven't used it since the days of Sway and making advertising videos, but it's gonna be a journey. I hope to, hopefully before too long, actually start getting some footage of like actual training and whatnot, so I can add that into the video just to make it a little bit more fun, but still pretty low budget, low quality in that sense. Yeah, if you guys have something specific that you want to hear about or see or be talked about, let me know. I guess in closing, one quick thing, just want to say thank you guys for those of my friends and family and acquaintances and people that have kind of approached me saying that they're following this journey. It means a lot to have your support and to know that somebody finds this somewhat boring life interesting. It's just neat to have people follow along the journey, and I think it really does help me critically think about how to go through these types of processes and journeys and learning how to be a better person all in all. So thank you guys so much, and until next time, Tucker, say goodbye.